Hello folks, this is the first Scratch tutorial and what we're looking at in this video is how to create sprites. And as you can see here I've got three sprites. There are three different methods for generating sprites and they are the characters that appear on the stage of your game in Scratch. If you want to click on this button it expands your stage to full screen, so that's what the game would look like as somebody's playing it. So before we start we're going to identify the fact that you can create things with Scratch. You can actually paint little characters. You can import or upload them from another source. And there are loads of default characters in Scratch for you to use when making your sprites. To begin with, we'll look at how to create one. So I've created another project just to demonstrate how I've got to where I got with the previous one you've just seen. The first thing we do is we go down to this sprite thumbnail. A thumbnail is like a little mini image of the thing we're looking at. So obviously this is the sprite on the screen. We're going to delete the cat. The reason for that is we don't want that particular character. He's the default. We often will use him when we're creating games and we're learning how to do scripting, which is the next few videos on. But for now what we're going to do is we're going to hover over that little cat's head. We're going to do a painted sprite. So we click here, the paintbrush, and we have lots of tools. So we can have a circle, we can have a paintbrush. What I did was I changed this to 20 to do the really scary eyes of that little stick figure I just did. I press enter on the keyboard to select that, and then I'm going to change the fill color. I'm just going to drop the brightness there to make black eyes, and I just click here, and draw the smiley face. Obviously you've used paint tools in the past. Hideous little stick figure. If you are willing to invest the time, obviously, in creating, you can use these tools really well. You've got square tools, you've got the eraser here if you want to rub things out, and it's really worth exploring that. And you will probably want to create some of your own characters when you do your final project at the end of the cycle. So we can move our little character around. Another thing you can do is resize them. So if we go here to this particular sprite, we can resize it. And I'm just going to change that 100 to 40. And I press enter again, and my sprite drops down to size a little bit. I'm also going to change it from sprite 1, which is a very default standard name, to Olaf. Because it reminds me of Olaf from Frozen, I don't know. Also, Olaf can have several costumes. So I can actually duplicate this costume and change it slightly. I right click, I can duplicate, and with this costume 2 for Olaf, we can leave those as costume 1 and costume 2, although you can rename those as well if you want. With costume 2, Olaf is going to be really angry. Right, so Olaf can be animated to be angry, and I'll show you later on how to do some scripting to change between costumes. That will be in one of the videos for this lesson. Okay, so that's how to make a character. They can have loads of costumes, and the advantage of making costumes is obviously you can animate them then so that they do things, and it gives them a whole world of expressions. We're now going to go back to the original one I showed you, and I'm going to show you how to upload an image. So you can obviously download images from Google Images, and you can upload them to from your computer to Scratch. So we've got this cheeky chappy here. Notice I haven't named them, so that's quite a bad thing on me for my prepared file. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go to Google Images, and I'll show you what to search for to get a picture like that. So here I am on Google Images, and you might notice I've typed the word sloth PNG. Now it's really important you search for images that are PNG format. It stands for Portable Network Graphics, and they're the sort of graphics that have a transparent background. And this can obviously be imported into Scratch with a transparent background. And it's great for you because you won't need to rub the background out. The reason why you don't want a background in a game is obviously the sloth would appear as just a big white square with a sloth on it. It doesn't really look interesting when you're playing a game with a white square with a picture on it. You want the character kind of feeling realistic and looking like they fit into the setting. So we type PNG, and I've got this image here. You might not always get PNGs with transparent backgrounds, so you need to search around a little bit first. But I know I found this one because it's preloaded already, and allow cookies. And I went to a PNG IMG website. There he is. So you can zoom in and zoom out. I'm going to right click on the image, and I save image as, and that goes onto my computer. Okay, so once you've saved it onto your computer, you'll save it somewhere onto your Chromebook. It should be really easy to find them once you've saved it. So I'm going to go back to Scratch now and show you how to upload it from your computer or your Chromebook. So I'm back in my Scratch makey sort of section, I guess. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hover over here and I'm going to go to this button, which is Upload Sprite. And as you can see, I've got it in my downloads. You should have a very similar window pops up on the Chromebook. You should be able to find the image file you're looking for. And I just open it. Obviously, this is Windows, not Chromium, but it's a very, very similar operating system. I click Open, and my image is then imported. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to call my sloth Larry. Larry the sloth. Press Enter, obviously, when I've changed the name. And Larry needs to be, I think, 40 as well. We're changing from 100 to 40. And that's a nice size. It looks like he can interact fairly with our little stickman, Olaf. There we go, there's Olaf, there's Larry. Right, so the final one I showed you was a centaur. So let's have a look at that one again. And as you can see, there's a centaur in the game. And he's facing that way. So let's go and see how we get that pre-made image. Right, I'm back in my creation part. Not the example, but the one I'm creating. And I go here, and instead I go to the magnifying glass. So I choose a sprite. What I did was I've got loads I can choose from. There are absolutely tons. And when you're making a game, I'd rather you try and find one that's already there because then it's easier to code. You don't have to spend too much time editing and illustrating, but it is nice to get one that maybe you want to bring in yourself. So I clicked on Fantasy. I found Centaur. Okay. And the Centaur is imported. So that's how you import 3 different types of image into a game. And obviously, let's call him Bob. And his size is also going to be 40. So that's how to import characters into a game. How to make sprites.